This time of the year has come and it's so dark. We're going to try to make the most of it. Hi, welcome to my channel La Fraise. I'm Noémie. I'm a student in costume making in Brussels, and today I'm going to show you everything I've sewn this year. I actually have 49 lines on my list, but actually in those lines, one line, for example, is 3 bags, one line is 2 coats for Milo, one line is 11 scrunchies. So actually, even though I have 49 lines, I can happily and confidently say that I have sewn over 50 things this year, which is totally crazy but kind of fun. I can't wait to show you everything. I also didn't really count. I did a couple of mendings for Legally Blonde and the Panto of Brussels, and I didn't count those. I mean, dress alterations, but I didn't count that as proper sews, so they are not in the list. But the way I'm going to work for this video, not to last 6 hours and a half, is that I'm going to show you the items. I have some of them here with me. The summer items I'm mostly missing because they're in the summer boxes and it would be really a pain to go and get them. So I will have photos, and I also have some of the items with me, and I will quickly say the key points for me about them and give them a rating 0 to 5 stars. And if you want to know more about those items, I will link the seasonal everything I've sewn videos in the description down below, and you can go and look in those videos for the full details. So I will not put all of the patterns and all of the information in this video, otherwise the description is going to explode and the video is going to be very long. But if you go in the seasonal video, I really every time put the pattern in the description and every time go in more detail about the make and everything about the clothes. So I hope that this summary here is nice, and that if you want more information you can easily find it in the seasonal videos. And what I wanted to say as well is that I have collected some data because I do like a good Excel spreadsheet. So I actually, after I present everything to you, I have fun data about my year of sewing. So we have a lot to get through, so let's get started. So excited! We're going to start with my knits because I have only 2, so it's going to be really quick. I have made the oil sweater by We Are Knitters, and it was a disaster. I had made it once last year, I frogged it fully, I remade it this year, and I think it was great because it was a really good learning experience and learning about knitting and learning what to do and what not to do. But basically I remade it, and the biggest issue was that it was way too bulky, impossible to wear under a coat, and remaking it did not change the fact that it was really chunky yarn on 15mm needles, so that didn't solve anything. I also actually just wanted to lengthen the sleeves, and I have frogged the whole thing, so in the end I had to remake the whole body for no reason. And because I had seen that you could felt the yarn together to join it without a knot, I had done that, but because the yarn was so chunky you could see those massive felted bits on my front. So I remade it fully. It wasn't a big success, and I frogged it because I have other big jumpers I wear at home, so I didn't need a second one to be just a big jumper I can wear only at home. I need stuff to be a bit more versatile than only at home clothing. So I frogged it a second time. So just to make sure we understand each other properly, I have made and frogged this jumper twice. But my wife then used the yarn to make a lovely basket. So this is not on my me-made pile. I made a jumper this year, and the jumper is now a lovely basket for my yarn and for my knitting stuff. And it's much prettier. Before I was using the We Are Knitters bag to shove all of my yarns in, and now I have this, which is really, really pretty, crocheted by my wife, so not in my made pile, but still made by someone. And I did make the jumper this year, so the jumper is in my made pile. And for the jumper I wore once and frogged, I will give 1 star because it was a pleasurable knitting experience. It knitted very fast, but the final result doesn't deserve more than 1 star, sadly. My second knit is the Stay Up Till Dawn sweater from Kutova Kika's book, which I have bought at the start of the year. The sweater is supposed to be made just plain colored, but I have mathed myself the stripes, and the stripes are exactly my sort of color. It's a lightly scratchy yarn. I have very, very sensitive skin, so I think it will be fine for most people, but because I'm very sensitive, just a bit of the color that doesn't have a t-shirt protecting me from it, I do get a bit itchy in it, but that's alright, and it's very cozy. I really like it. I will say the only complaints I have is that I think I didn't have knowledge of good bind off for the end of the sleeves. So the end of the sleeves are actually really tight because I didn't do a stretchy bind off. You live and you learn. And it could be a touch less cropped. It's maybe a tiny bit too cropped for my liking, but that's my only complaint. Otherwise, I really like it. It's really cozy. It's a really good knit, and I will give it 4 out of 5 stars. Starting in the sewing project, this is among the first things I talked about on my channel. Actually, the We Are Knitters jumper is also one of the first things I talked about on my channel. But this is me trying to replicate the Alara pants that I had seen everywhere on Instagram, and I wanted to make a corduroy pants, not realizing that this is mini roy, so the wales on this are very, very small, which doesn't give you the same look. I mean, it was me dipping for the first time in corduroy, and now I realize it was absolutely not the right fabric for what I wanted to make. Also, I vanity sized myself, and so when I finished them, I couldn't fit into the pants. So I gave them to my wife, and I have 2 items in this roundup that I have made for myself but ended up being for my wife. And in the chart at the end, I just counted them as something I've made for her, even though I definitely made it for me. But for full transparency, there's a bit of fudging in the table in that sense. But so this is something I'm actually remaking this winter. Probably it's going to be finished this year, but I need to film the video so that it's, you know, on your screen on time. So realistically, I'm going to make more things than 50 because I'm going to sew maybe a couple more pieces during the holidays now. But we're rounding it up now officially. And this is my attempt last year at making the Alara pants. As you can see, I had made the pleats, which I really liked, and I'm going to do that in my version this year as well. I have a much better plan for this year, much better fabric. I have super high hopes, and this is a video you will see if you also want to make Alara pants for yourself. Super comfy ones. Also, I kind of miscalculated the math between taking pleats out and having a flat front instead of an elasticated front because I kept only the elasticated back. So in the end it was too small to fit into, so I had to add an invisible zipper, which ended being not so invisible as you can see. So these, I still want to give them a 3 out of 5 stars, but am I giving the 3 out of 5 stars just because the fabric's very cute? It might be possible. Also because my wife wears them and everything on her looks very nice. So 3 out of 5 stars, even though that's probably generous for the disaster that those pants were. Following up with using the leftovers from the corduroy, I do like to use my scraps as soon as possible, and at the moment I have really left my scraps pile up and it's stressing me out. I really need to use them and find a moment to use them. It always feels so good when all of my scraps are busted. But this is a skirt I have made, so in the chart at the end it will be put in the no patterns category because I have just copied a skirt I have, so I don't count it as a pattern if it's a copied skirt. It has the generous pockets at the back where you can put your phone comfortably or your hand if you are cold, and also very nice pockets at the front here. Slash pockets that I have drafted myself, very proud of that. And again, I really like the fabric. The only thing is that I sometimes lack confidence to wear something so short, even though it's not that short, but sometimes confidence is really, really lacking. I mean, I have to give this a 4 out of 5 stars because I think it's well made. I love the fabric. The only thing is that I lack the confidence, but no, I'm happy with it. 4 out of 5 stars. What is next? I'm sorry the light isn't great. I don't have professional filming light and it's doomsday outside. It's literally 11 AM, so it's not supposed to be that dark, but it's apparently the end of the world, so I need all the lights I can get so that you can see me. This is a skirt I have made for my wife, properly made for her. I didn't make it for myself and then she ended up with it. And it's a linen that we bought at Spotlight in Australia, and it did shrink quite a bit in its first wash, which meant that the fabric ended up much more dense than it was meant to be, so not a great linen in the end. I did wash it accordingly to the specification, and also it burned under the iron, and if you know, proper linen is supposed to withstand quite high heat, so I believe that there was some sort of treatment on it that made it burn. But so inside the skirt I did place the pieces, so it would be inside. You have those like shiny white marks of burnt iron. So this skirt had quite a few issues because I always pre-wash my fabric before I sew, obviously, not crazy. I ended up having not enough fabric for the skirt she had originally asked for, which was a copy of the skirt she wore for her wedding day, the one at the town hall, not the proper ceremony one. But so I had to make it shorter because I didn't have enough fabric. I don't remember what rating she gave to this, because if you haven't seen that video, it's a really fun one. It's my wife rating everything I have made for her. And I don't know, I found it really cool to see her opinion on my sewing, because obviously she sees things very differently. Okay, and I have to comment on Milo resting his head on my stool while I sew. You guys are here, and my laundry is there at the back, sorry. And that's Milo, who has a too heavy head to carry it himself. Okay, so moving on, the skirt. I quite like the skirt. I think my wife still likes it. In the end, it's more of a winter skirt because of the weight of the fabric, which has shrunk and so it's denser than was planned. There's a nice peekaboo pocket with Australian fabric, so it's a nice nod to her origin. And no, I'm happy with how it's made. And I also really like the buttons, which I have chosen for her. I think they're really pretty. So I would give this a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, this one. Next up is my first Jackson tee, and I love this piece. This is pattern matched to perfection, even the sleeves. I don't know if you can tell. Yes, you can tell. The sleeves are perfectly pattern matched. The side seam, you can't even tell where it is because it's so well pattern matched. The collar I cut very neatly so that the line would fall perfectly, and I have sewn it very carefully. Sorry Milo, I'm draping my t-shirt over him and he's bothered. At the same time, he's the one in my way. This is tencel modal and modal. Tencel modal? Modal? Tencel modal. We're gonna say it like this. And so super comfy fabric. It was a bit more pricey, but pricey fabric, but so happy with how comfortable it is. It's exactly my color, like dark blue with things on it is exactly Noémie, and I also really like stripes. So I love the pattern, I love the fabric, I love how I've sewn it. Oh, this have to be a 5 out of 5 stars. My first one this year, woo! 5 out of 5 stars. I didn't realize this would be this one. But now that I see it, I realize there's nothing else to say about it. It is perfect. You are perfection, and I love you. They have a different colorway in this fabric at the fabric store, and I was like, oh, I want to buy the different colorway to make more because I love it so much. But I know that I love it so much because it's blue. The different colorway is black. I'm not gonna wear black as much, I'm sure of it. Next one, I used the scraps from that project. I also actually used the scraps from that project to make underwear. I'm not showing you all the underwear I made, but that's something I'm going to talk about one day because I use all of my jersey scraps basically to make underwear, and I at some point want to show you how I make underwear because I love it as a scrap buster. Super efficient, the comfiest underwear you've ever worn. So something on the note list for 2025, but not mentioning them as finished project, otherwise I would have 100 finished project this year. That's probably an exaggeration. The next one I don't have it here because it's in my summer wardrobe, but it's leftovers from this t-shirt, as you can see. And actually I had enough to just do the front and not even the whole front, but I think it looks really neat. It's also a Jackson tee, so I knew I liked the shape by then. And yeah, I think the combination works really well, and because I really like the stripes, I'm happy to wear them also in the summer. And yeah, the back is fully white because I was running out of fabric, so I did buy a little bit of white jersey to finish this piece. And that one is going to get a 4 out of 5 stars. I also really like it. Next one, green Jackson. Okay, so as you can tell, I was on a mood making Jackson tees like there's no tomorrow, and this one is my green Jackson tee, and I also have had a ton of wear out of this. This fabric is also from Spotlight in Australia, and when I was working with it, I was like, oh, it's bad quality as well, like I'm also disappointed in this one, but actually it's been wearing really well and washing really well and aging well, so I'm happy that in the end it wasn't a bad purchase. But yeah, another Jackson. By the way, the Jackson officially is either a short sleeves t-shirt or a sweatshirt, but what I basically do is What I basically do is take the sweatshirt pattern pieces, I lengthen the sleeves a tiny bit because the sweatshirt has a cuff and obviously my t-shirts don't have a cuff. But yeah, using the Jackson pattern, I make long sleeves t-shirts with no problem. And I will give 4 out of 5 stars. It could be a 5 almost, but because I like the stripy so much more, it can't fully be a 5, but 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really like it. And next up, you're going to see there is a trend here. I used the scraps from that green fabric with some white t-shirting to make this baseball one. And it's really funny, when I was planning this, I really had such a strong vision for it. My wife was like, no, it's not going to be your style, blah, blah, blah. But I'm always like, you can't say it's not your style, because it's not your style because you don't have it, so you can't wear it and wear something like it if you don't have it. But I made it, I'm wearing it a ton, and I absolutely love it. This is a Stockholm blouse from Atelier Skamit, and I just removed the darts in the most butchery way. I mean, I didn't do any proper dart manipulation. I was literally like, okay, so I remove like the space of the dart, I cut across it and call it a day. I mean, it wasn't really proper work, but because it's a knit, it really is forgiving. And yeah, absolutely love this t-shirt. I like the jersey fabric a little bit less. I don't know if you can see on camera, but this is very soft. Not sure what this is because this is from Spotlight, so I can't check it anymore. But like, this is a really soft jersey, and this jersey here in the middle is more crunchy. And I don't always love the crunchy jersey, but I really like that top and I would happily give it, I want to say 3.5 stars, but why isn't it getting 4? What have you done? I think it's just the crunchiness of the jersey. It gets more wrinkled as well. I don't know if you can see that. It gets more wrinkled because the jersey is more crunchy. If it had been a more soft jersey on the white fabric, it would definitely have been a 4 out of 5 stars. I wasn't recording and I don't know since how long. Let's say we are at this bag. I hope I didn't miss too much. This bag I made, oh my god, I have to repeat everything I've just said. This bag I've made in a workshop that I received for Christmas last year. It was a patchwork workshop, and you got leftovers from the scrap bin at the fabric store. But I also then, when I got home, added, so for example, this is one of my own fabrics, and then the pink is also from one of my own dress. And what I wanted for this project was lots of different floral blue patchwork pieces, so it's all kind of blue florals if you look properly. And then what I like is that the pink piece has also blue flowers on it despite being pink. So I think it's really cohesive and works nicely together. Because it's just a bag, it's a patchwork, but it didn't take too long, and I did get extremely lazy. There is a proper way to sew. Are those hexagons? To sew hexagons? If they're not hexagons, I'm sorry. There's a proper way to sew them in patchwork so that they're well. And at the end, I got very lazy and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna make massive columns and just go zoop, zoop, zoop. And there's definitely a side, yeah, you have the good side facing you. There's definitely a side that got a little bit more messy. As you can see, there's lots of folds in the corners. Because I couldn't be bothered anymore. If you look at this one, oopsie. I was clearly getting a bit bored of it and I wanted to be finished with it. And this is one of the bags I used as a project bag for my knitting, and I absolutely love it. It brings me a lot of joy. I'm very happy to have made this project. I think it's really pretty. It's absolutely my colors. Okay, I was like, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 stars just because it brings me so much happiness. But seeing that I have finished it badly, I think it's only 4 out of 5 stars. It's in my heart, it's a 5. I love this bag, absolutely love it. Next up is another top that I had made for myself, but then my wife ended up getting, and it's a Chelsea Raglan top in leftovers from a dress I had made for a friend. A friend was going to be, I think, a bridesmaid at a wedding, and she asked me to make her dress on Saturday. That doesn't count because that was last year. But I had leftover from her dress, and so I wanted to make myself a Chelsea Raglan top. At the last moment I thought, oh, I'm gonna make French seam. If you know it works, it doesn't work to just add French seam on a top that's already cut because the seam allowance is not big enough. So it ended up being too small, my head couldn't go through, I fudged it a little bit, made it so that you could fit a head through, but it was way too tight on me. So my wife ended up getting it. So it also counts as something I have sewn for my wife, even though it originally absolutely wasn't for her. I really like it, but the neckline is definitely quite messy and the fabric is also not wearing really well. after a few washes. I think it's fine for the bridesmaid dress because she doesn't wear it so often, but for a t-shirt that my wife wears quite often, it's not washing really well. I can't really rate the washing because that's not my fault, but it's messily made. I think it's only 3 stars. And I think the stars it's only because it's a pretty fabric and a nice pattern to start with. But my work on it is probably 1.5 stars, but let's say that the full project is 3 stars. Again, it's being worn by my wife, so it looks good. So it gets 3 stars. Next up, it counts as something for me, but it's actually for my sewing machine, and it's a sewing machine cover that I have just free-handed and totally butchered the math on, and so it doesn't fit super well. This is my favorite leopard pants. Oh, I have a story for them, and this is the wrap top I'm wearing at the moment, and I actually love the combination of those 2 fabrics. My wife hates it because she says it's 2 different prints and it doesn't go, but I do like 2 different prints. For me, leopard is almost a neutral, and I do find that the colors match. I think with the yellow light from the light at the moment doesn't work quite as well, but this is a slightly pinkish leopard, and I find that it matches the flowers that are here, for example, those ones. So I personally really like this combo, and I'm really happy when my sewing machine can wear leopard and pretty flowers. Now, my leopard print pants, I love them so much, but they are wearing thin between the thighs, like all the fuzz has peeled off, and I'm worried they are going to die on me between the thighs, and I think I'm going to sacrifice this to repair the thighs of my pants because I care more about my pants than about the cover, which doesn't even fit so well. Now mine, just buy myself a good one that also allows me to transport it, because this is literally like to keep the dust away from it, but it's in a drawer anyway, so it's kind of just more of a pain than useful. So this in itself, I would give it 3 out of 5 stars because I really like it, but the bias on top is not really neatly done, because I had not done school and learned proper way to do bias yet. So the bias is not super neat. It doesn't fit properly because in the end it's a bit too small, and I mind chop it anyway. So 3 out of 5 stars, but I do like it. I love the combination of the fabric, but yeah, it's not perfection. I've just made a rectangle that doesn't fit properly. Then I made a tank top, as I have made a million tank top, and this is leftovers from a dress I had made. And I quite like that tank top. It's super wearable, it feels very breezy, looks kind of nice because it's a nice viscose, the fabric. I think I had messed up the neckline, and I had to repair it later on. There's a video about that as well if you want to go and see my mending videos. Oh, I want to give it 3 stars, but it's because I think it's not as neat as it could have been. I do like the fabric, I do wear the tank top, but I think 3 stars because it's a little bit messy. Then we have what I'm wearing now, and this is a top I really like, and I was actually thinking that it would get only 4 stars. And I was like, why 4? Because I love the fabric, but like I love the fabric intensely. When I saw it in the fabric store, it was almost the sales. I was like, I can't risk it not being there anymore in the sales, and it wasn't in the sales anymore. So I like ran to the fabric store, bought it. I'm quite a sweaty person, and the small pattern like this in a dark fabric really hides any sweat patches. I mean, I never saw a sweat patch on me wearing this, so that makes me feel really comfortable. I love the floral. I'm gonna come closer. I really love the pattern. It's a Lis Taylor fabric, and I think they really outdone themselves with this one. The pattern is the Cassidy wrap top from Helen's Closet, and I'm really happy of how I've made it. This is what I wanted to do, but I have to say I think a wrap just doesn't suit my preference, because this is way too low cut. Like, I don't feel secure that I'm not gonna flash a breast to someone. I always wear it with a singlet underneath, and I feel like it brings too much attention to my chest. And also because there's the knot here. Sorry, you can see I'm in day pajamas, but there's the knot here. And so if I'm wearing a jumper above it, sometimes you can just see the knot hanging, but you can't see the top. And I'm very happy of how it's made. I like the pattern, but I just think that maybe a wrap is not for me, is what I'm kind of learning this year. So even though I love the fabric and I wear this top a lot and I really like it, I think I would have worn it more with a different pattern, something more like a traditional blouse. So 4 out of 5 stars, because it's not just like perfection, but the fabric is 10 out of 5 stars. I love the fabric so much. I would have bought the whole roll. Yeah, I just love it so much. I can't say it differently. Fabric loved by me. That's next up is my pimpante top. That's a Liz Taylor pattern on a Liz Taylor fabric, and actually they have a photo on the fabric photos or on the pattern photos, I'm not sure, but they had pretty much matched it like this, and I was like, yes, I'm going to make exactly what you're showing me. So very unoriginal from my part, but I absolutely love this. I feel so comfortable in this. I finished it so well. I'm extremely proud of myself. The only modification I have made is that I have lengthened the sleeves because they're 3/4 length sleeves, and I don't see the use of 3/4 length sleeve. I'm either hot or cold, but I'm not 3/4 length sleeves. I just love this. I'm going to show it worn because I think with the dark fabric you kind of struggle to see. I also really like the button I have chosen for it, which are kind of, they're not pearlescent actually, but they're lacquered in a really pretty way, a bit shiny, and I love them. And again, the light is really not helping me right now because it's making everything look very orange, but this is a really cool black with really cool toned cats on it. The photo I'm going to put on top is going to help, but yes, love this, absolutely love this. 5 out of 5 stars. Woo, the second 5 stars. Love this so much. You know, you have those pieces, if I wear this, and I almost try to stop myself from wearing it too often because I know I'm going to feel so good wearing it. So it's like I need to save that feeling for days where I really need it or days I really want to smash it. I still want to mention though, when I made this top and when I made the pimpante shirt, I felt like it was a definite turn in my sewing journey. It really was the moment where I kind of took more care in what I was making. At the time I was really prolific and I thought there's no point just sewing like things and things and things so fast. And I slowed down and I started making things better. And so the pride and love I had in what I made really came with that improvement in the making. So I kind of want to mention it because for me those 2 pieces were really the moment where I started using French seams back a lot more, which I had been using in the start of my journey, but then I had been lazy and used just zigzag everywhere. And I feel like those 2 pieces for me really feel the moment things turned and leveled up, and it felt good to have. I really felt like in Super Mario when you're like, whoop, leveling up, going to see the big boss now. You see what I mean. Next up we have my first paintbrush wrap, which I have made a tutorial out of, and this is my first one. As you can see, I have once more matched the flower fabric I'm wearing now and the leopard fabric. So this is my master paintbrush wrap. I'll show you because later on I have made a smaller one, and that's the smaller one that's in the tutorial, but it has also the beautiful flower fabric on the outside, and that brings me so much joy every time I see it again. How many times can I say I love this fabric? This gets definitely, I mean, I'm gonna say 4 out of 5 stars. I really like it. It's a bit big in the end. What I mean is that it's a bit tall. It's too tall for what I need. Also, I've made it so that it's double compartment, so you could also slip a brush on the second level here, but because it's too tall, they fall down and then you really have to go and fish them out. So I use only the first level. So in the end, probably tired myself for nothing making the second level. And also, which if you recognize is my wife's linen skirt. And also this bit here, I mean, I saw that on models on Etsy and I was like, sure, if they have it, I want it, but feels a bit useless to be honest. I really like it, I use it all the time, but it is probably not optimally made, and you're going to see that the ones I made afterwards were made differently. And then I made a tank top out of the cat fabric because I had leftovers, and you know how it goes, and I felt very chuffed with myself because I didn't have enough fabric to cut the back in one piece, so I could cut the front in one piece, but the back I had to piece it from 2 bits, and I decided to cut it just at the top of the back, like if it was a yoke in a shirt, except that I didn't have enough fabric to make it doubled and do a burrito like you would normally do in a shirt, so it's just French seams. But you know, I think it looks super polished, super neat, and absolutely love this tank top. Again, I really like when there's a fabric I love and I have a winter version and a summer version. I want to keep the 5 stars for like really, really good thing, but it's definitely going to get a 4.5 stars. I think I just prefer the Pimpante shirt, but I still love the fabric and I love a good tank top, so 4.5 stars for this one. Next up, my sports tank top. I copied a H&M top that I really liked. In the end, I kind of messed up the sleeves and everything and had to find a solution, which was using binding at the neckline and for the arm openings, which made it fit a bit differently than I wanted to. And if I think of, is it matching the top I was trying to copy, in the end it was not so close, but I really like it. I've been wearing it a ton. I feel really powerful wearing it, so it's definitely a 4 out of 5 stars for me. I'm sorry, I know I can't stop talking about my dog, but this is the view I have and it just melts my heart. Look at that little paw. Oh. We're not even halfway through, so I want to move on. The patchwork dress. The patchwork dress was such a labor of love. It took a really, really long time. I'm so happy with it. I have been feeling less confident the last few times I wore it because I was heavier the last few times I wore it than when I made it, and I can really feel in my head that there's that thing, like it's just a bit too short for the way I feel in my body, and I have felt less confident. Also, the lining has ripped. I think the viscose lining I've been using was not so good quality and the lining has been ripping and there was issue in the skirt. So there's a part of like, I love it. I love the look of it. I feel so cool wearing it. Also now it's associated in my head with feeling bad in my body, and also I had technical issues and rips in it. And it's not so old as I made it this year. So I still want to give it 4 out of 5 stars because I still think it looks so cool, but it's definitely not a 5 out of 5 stars because of the elements I mentioned. I have made 2 coats for Milo, a blue one and a brown one. And the brown one, I made it from very little fabric. You can see the vlog of me trying to piece all of this together, and it looks so cute in them. And when you walk your corgi in a tiny cute coat, it's really nice. He also doesn't really like the rain, so I hoped that it would make him enjoy walking in the rain more. It doesn't, because I think he doesn't like that his head is still getting wet. It is, however, easier for us to dry him when his back is not fully soaked. I haven't made him wear them much recently because I don't know if he really likes them. Also, the binding is a real mess around the hole that I made for the harness. So I'm going to give them both 3.5 stars. He's really cute in them, but I don't know if they are a family favorite. What is this day? So I've had a lunch break, new energy to restart filming, but now there's sun. What is this? Crazy. Well, let's enjoy the sun while there's some, and let's keep going. Had lunch, I'm refreshed, ready to go. Then I made 2 bras, and actually bra making journey kind of stopped there. I really want to keep working on it, but it's not a priority. I wasn't super motivated after making the 2 first ones, but I have a new pattern I'm going to try. So I have made a first one and then a second one, trying to correct on the first one. I have filmed the whole experience if you want to know more about my bra making journey, but basically it wasn't working for a whole range of reasons. I have now a new pattern, and I'm going to do first a Franken bra using scrap fabrics to see if it works, and once it works then I'm going to use my nice fabric to make a proper bra. But I think, looking at my bra preferences, I really like the ones that have cups that are formed in the shape of a nice breast. I prefer something that really has a cup and that's really going to shape the breast than just a soft cup bra, which is what I'm making. So I don't have, hello Bobby, I don't have much hope that it's going to work out for me, but I still really want to try to make one that fits. So that's basically what I'm going to do, Franken bra to basically toile it, and then hopefully make a successful bra. If I can make one successful bra, I'll be able to tick this off my list and be like, yes, I've made it. Now I can move on and accept that the bras I like to wear are actually bras that are easier to just buy. Then I made 3 Uniqlo's bags. See, when I tell you that I have 49 lines, made much more than 49 things. I made 3 Uniqlo Uniqlo style bag, obviously not Uniqlo bags. And I have made one for me, which ended up being adopted by my wife. So again, one that in the graph is shown as something for her, but it was originally made for me. One for me that she adopted, one for my mom that she requested and I made for her with a waterproof lining because she asked for it. And then I made a third one this way for me to stay for me. And I'm actually making more. Not only am I making more, I'm making size adjustments and little tweaks, and okay, it stays between us. It's coming as a tutorial. Just don't tell anyone, it's between us, but I'm working on that. I'm super excited about having this bag. Still need to make it. It's going to happen maybe even still this year, technically, or early January. I'm definitely making this during my Christmas break. I mean, it's one of my big goals for the Christmas break. Two things I want to make for my Christmas break is my corduroy pants and this bag. So that's coming up very soon if you are interested. I just had lunch with my wife and she was like, you're not very good at making things snappy. Well, we can't be good at everything, okay? I'm a lovely creative person and I'm not very snappy. Can't be good at everything. Next is the robe I have made for my German friend who was getting married, and we made this robe, and I made this robe, but we offered it. We offered it as the group for her hen's weekend. Everyone chipped in into the price of the fabric, but I made it so that she could wear it on the day of the wedding while she was getting ready and everything. And she's also been wearing it on her honeymoon, and I have a skirt in that fabric as well, and I know how luxurious it feels. It's a Dotty viscose from Liz Taylor, a real pleasure to wear on the skin. So I have made that for her. Oh my god, I have totally forgot to rate stuff. Backtrack. Bras. Oh, the bras are 2 stars. The fabric's good. Yeah, 2 stars for the bras. Uniqlo bags are a solid 4 stars. My German friend's robe is 3.5 stars. I'm not super happy with the finishing because the viscose was very slippery and it was hard to make as properly as I wanted it to be. And also I could not, but absolutely could not find the perfect thread match. And it bugs me that you can see the thread a little bit on the fabric. So let's say that. Next one, the poppy blouse I have made from a fabric that a friend gave me. She had that in her leftover and she was like, you like Liz Taylor? I have a Liz Taylor fabric, have it. And I don't think the pattern I used was the best, and also viscose, it was moving a lot. I mean, I wear it because it's a very wearable color, and it's 2.5. Yeah, I can't give it more than 2.5 stars, to be honest. La jupe, so the skirt from Atelier Brunette in the Dotty viscose, so the same one as the robe I had made for my friend, and that one must be a 4 out of 5 stars. Such a nice fabric. It can't get 5 because it needs to be ironed every time. Otherwise I have it here. It's so pretty. I feel so beautiful in it, but I need to iron it before wearing it. Otherwise my wife make comments about how unironed I look, but such a flowy fabric, so comfortable. I really like the button I've chosen. So yeah, a solid. It was the second time I made a skirt from the Atelier Brunette pattern, and I think it's such a pretty pattern. It gives me full-on princess feels. The way it folds, great pattern. I really like that one. Next one, we have a big fail. I'm not going to talk too much about this because you know if you watch my seasonal roundup, but I really like the fabric. It was my first time using double gauze and I was really happy of how easy it was compared to the fear I had from using it. I really like that it has one side small squares, one side big square, and I could play around with that, and I think that shape was very flattering with the square change. But double gauze grows, and it has grown in all sorts of shape, and it looks really unflattering now. And this is on my to chop and to remake into something pile, even though I really liked what you can see here. I think that was really nice, but I had issue with the pattern. If you want to watch that vlog, you can see me complain extensively about the placement of the zipper and how, I mean, I had big issues with the pattern itself, and then the double gauze grew and it ended up not fitting great. So 1.5 star, 2 stars. It can't even have 2 stars. 1.5 star. I like the fabric and I'm looking forward to making something else out of it. Yeah, I still need to do the transformation. Basically, it's gonna be for next summer, but yeah, this is not what I hoped it would be. We can't give it more than that. We have to be fair in our quotation. I really want to give a good mark to everyone, but we can't. Lockout dress, that was a good one. A dress I felt so nice in. I again have a whole vlog of me making that. I had put on a bit of weight by that point. My weight tends to fluctuate with life, and at that point I had put on a bit of weight and I had those weddings coming up and I really wanted to feel good in the dresses I had for the weddings, and the dresses I had made for weddings previous years were all not too small. I still fit in them, but I didn't feel good in them at all. And so having this dress that made me feel so comfortable, like I did not spend 1 second thinking about any part of my body while wearing it. And that's kind of what you want, you know, you want to feel like you can enjoy the day and not think about, oh my god, this and that and this and that. So it was such a lovely dress to wear for the wedding, such a nice make. I can't say enough good out of it. And when I was planning to make a frozen dress for myself on New Year's Eve, I was planning to use the locket dress pattern. I had a whole plan. This is not happening anymore, but locket dress. Oh, do we give it a 5? It's also a very nice fabric. We're gonna give it a 4.5. I don't know why I feel like a 5 is such a, at the same time I feel so good in it, but still a 4.5. 4.5 for the locket dress, but I really loved it. Next one, the red leotard and the skirt I have made for my ballet dance friend. This is getting a 5. This was such, it's also linked with the feeling of like making a leotard for the first time. I had seen on one of the old seasons of the Sewing Bee I was watching at the time, a challenge where they had to make, I think, a dance outfit and someone had made a leotard, and it really clicked in my mind. I was like, you could make a leotard, and I was like, yes, I want to make one. YouTube rabbit hole straight away, how to make leotards, and found a nice pattern from Jali and used that. And I was like, random question, but can I make a leotard for you? If you just pay for the fabric, I'll make the leotard. And then she also found in the fabric store a fabric she would like for a little skirt, so I also made the skirt, kind of like free-handed it, basing it on the skirt she had and wore and liked. Why is the sun so harsh all of a sudden? I think the color looked great. She came for so many fittings, but we made it like fit perfectly on her, and I was really happy to make that project. That was such a nice learning experience, and it was nice that it ended up so good. So definitely a 5 for the leotard and the skirt combo. I was so happy to make this project and so happy with the results. And I know that she always gets a ton of compliments wearing it at dance, so that's also really nice. Next, my wife's jumpsuit. See, I'm doing a good amount of selfless sewing as well. I'm sewing a lot for myself, but a lot for other people too, which you shall see in the graphs at the end, not peeking now. But this is a fully lined jumpsuit I have made for my wife. I really like it. I had to mend it because she let the dog rip it, but really nice fabric. It's lined all the way to the start of her thighs because it's quite see-through, and I wanted her to be able to wear whatever underwear she wanted with it without feeling like it would show. Honestly, do I have... Oh yeah, okay, the top is not lined. Okay, fine. It can't be a 5 because technically there is one little fault in it, and yeah, I think I could have made it even neater. We're gonna call it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it could have been even neater, but it's already a really good one. Spring shorts, those ones didn't go too well. I explained in the video, the paper bag shaped kind of made a lot of space around my tummy and didn't make it look super flattering, and also they ride up between my thighs when I walk, which makes them super uncomfortable. People have given me little tricks for in the future to make the elastic of the paper bag fall better around the tummy, which I will try in the future, but still the shape makes it that it rides up, so it's impossible to walk in. So it's a pair of shorts that was in a cotton satin from Lace Taylor, so they were really expensive, and in the end I can wear them only around the house. Like, I can't walk with them, so it's a very expensive pair of shorts to wear. Oh, the sun is gone. Very expensive pair of shorts to wear only around the house. So 3 stars. I mean, they're nice, but they don't fit a really great purpose, and the price tag also feels wrong for them. Then I made myself a bikini top, and it's also going to be 4 stars. I love it. I felt really good in it, and especially like I have a lot of body image issues around my chest, and having a bikini top that didn't make me feel unhappy with how that looked really meant a lot. So really happy with the bikini top. I am giving it 4 out of 5 stars because the lining, which is a special swimsuit lining, broke, really ripped at the seams, and that was a bit frustrating. And I think now, now when I make a swimsuit for me or for friends, I actually lined it with lycra, like a pale skin color lycra or a different colored lycra, like a plain colored lycra basically, because really not happy with the swimsuit linings I've been using. It's been ripping all over the place, and then yeah, not happy with it. So 4 out of 5 stars, feel amazing in it, but annoying that I used swimsuit lining and not lycra inside. This one really made me want to make myself a ton of swimsuits, even though I literally don't go in the pool enough to justify having more swimsuits, but makes me very happy. The Springer dress I really like. I think I made really well. I think the dress is really good. I think the dress is a 5 out of 5, but it has a very low neckline, and as we said, my chest is not something I feel always really good about. And so because of that, it can't get a 5 out of 5 stars because I don't feel the best in it, and it's not the dress fault. And I think the dress is really good. Like, I'm so proud of how I've made it. I think it was again like a moment where I felt like, wow, I really have this sewing thing. I'm doing it better and better. I don't feel so comfortable in the dress, and if I have to choose between the lockhart and the Springer, I'm often going to choose the lockhart because I feel more comfortable in that type of shape. Did I give it a rating? It's gonna be 3.5 stars out of 5. Then I made wedding scrunchies and bows for my cousin's wedding. My cousin's wife had a wedding dress, and she decided to cut the train fully off. She didn't want a long train, and so she had this extra fabric from the train, and she asked me if I would want to do bows and scrunchies for her bridesmaid, and I made them. And when I saw them on the day being worn in church, it felt amazing. And seeing, I never had so many people at once wearing my creations, because obviously I don't make dresses for 6 people normally, and here obviously it was only a scrunchie, but I still really felt like it's my work on all those people, and that felt great. I really loved it. I still have effing sparkles in my sewing machine to this day from that make, because they have invaded the whole machine. Really, I think I will have sparkles in my machine forever now because of this one make. I think they're 4 out of 5 stars. There was definitely a little bit of laziness in the way I made them, but at the same time, with the fabric I had, such a pain, so difficult. I feel like now with what I've learned at school, dare I say I would make them by hand. Ooh, I think I would make them differently with the knowledge I have now, which is why they can't be a 5 out of 5 stars, because I feel like I would make them differently, but I was still very happy with them when I made them. Then I made 2 paintbrush wraps, one for me and one for my friend who was leaving for the US. She's in Belgium now because she's visiting for Christmas, but she now lives in the US. But so I made myself a paintbrush wrap, and this is the small one I take when I travel. Much more practical, much smaller and nice, and this is what I made a tutorial for. So I really like this one. Okay, I can't give a 5 out of 5 stars for a paintbrush wrap. It feels like too high a grade for so low an item, but this is definitely a strong 4 out of 5 stars. Also, it's the fabric from my shorts that I in the end don't like wearing so much, but so I like being able to see the fabric here because I do like the fabric. And if you have recognized it, the outside is that dirty viscose from Liz Taylor that I have used for the robe and the skirt. And yeah, really good wrap. Let's give it 4 out of 5 stars, but I was happy to make one for my friend so that when she left for the US, she could pack her paintbrushes safely. And I think that's just a very useful item to have in your wardrobe. Not in your wardrobe. A very useful item to have to sort your paintbrushes. Then I made a swimsuit bikini for that same friend who was leaving for the US. And actually fitting for her top was very difficult. She originally saw my Sandpiper swimsuit and wanted the same, and I think that would have been fine. She has quite a big cup size, and in the end she saw the Claudia version I made for myself, but she wanted the Claudia but not the wrap like I have made for myself. And I think knowing the time we had left and the fabric I had left, we cut it way too fine. She didn't have a ton of time to come for fittings and fittings. Basically it didn't work out. I did an FBA for her. I think basically the shape doesn't work for her to at the same time give the support and at the same time work. I mean, I don't want to get too much into that, but I was a bit upset that it's not as nice as it could have been. I think if we had stayed with the plan of the sandpiper, it would have been a success, or do something that she could try on, like my wrap one, but she didn't want to wrap. In any case, changing the pattern last minute and then trying to do an FBA and hoping that it works, that was not a success. So the way she wears it, I think she kind of like flips the elastic under her breast. I mean, it's a pretty fabric. I think it's functional. But I think it's sad because I know I could have done better, but we were short on time, and I mean, she was packing her whole life, so, you know, it's understandable that she couldn't come for fittings. But now I'm realizing that I should not have said yes to changing the pattern and making a different pattern. Like, I should have realized what my limits and realized what I could do. It's because I have dressed smaller cup size, and it's obviously easier because you just need to cover them, but bigger cup size you also need to support them, like you have the added weight going into the equation, and that I didn't fully get. A bit sad with the fact that this wasn't perfect because we got really nice fabric for it, and I feel like it had many elements to be a perfect sew, and in the end it wasn't. Yeah, I think that was a good lesson for me, especially working with swimsuit. It's something that there's so many elements with the stretch of the elastic and the different elastics you put into your swimsuit. A lessons learned, yeah, a 3 stars out of 5, that's maybe even generous, but yeah, I'm a bit disappointed that it wasn't perfect, that one, but you live and learn. Then I repaired the shirt. I transformed the shirt fully. So I had a friend and her shirt got ripped, and I transformed the shirt so that she could still wear it. And so now it's kind of an Agustina blouse. And yeah, that one I would say a solid 3.5 stars. I did cut into what I was trimming, like it had to happen at some point this year. While trimming threads, I did cut straight into the back of the shirt, so I had to mend that. Generally happy with it. I don't think it's my best work. The neckline felt a bit wobbly to me, but yeah, not unhappy, but not like, wow, best project ever. Am I rating myself harsh because I know I could do better? Probably there's a bit of that. Pull dance outfit for my other friend, so that was the same fabric as the swimsuit. The pull dance outfit I was fairly happy with, except that I got the line for the elastic here under the breast quite wobbly. My friend came for a fitting and we were just doing that elastic and I was just sewing that on, and I got distracted. I now realize I can't sew with someone chatting to me. Like with a YouTube video, yes, but not with someone where I have to answer and be polite and everything. Obviously, I didn't feel like being like, okay, now go in another room. I can't have you around while I finish your outfit. But I do realize that this is what made me mess up, and it's sad for something that was so perfect. And now the underbust elastic is wobbly. I know she got many compliments at dance for that as well, and it's obviously nice to know she got compliments, but I can't get it out of my head that I haven't done it as well as I could. So I think it's also going to be a 3.5 stars. My Ogden cami. We are slowly reaching the end of the things I've made for myself. It's going to be less and less sewing for me as time goes, but I've made an Ogden cami from scraps. I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars. I basically was lazy on many points, also with my thread choices, but I was like, oh, it's scraps. I don't want to buy a new spool of thread just for that, which I get. But then it's also like not super neat, and that fabric was very shifty. It was the very end of that dotty viscose that we've talked a lot about, and it's made from, I think the back is made from 3 different pieces. Yeah, I'm just not super happy with how it turned out, so 3 stars. But I wear it a ton. Like in summer I do wear it a lot. This right there is a lie. So you have later Noémie fact checking past Noémie. I find it really interesting because I have a digital wardrobe. If you don't know about this, I will put it in the comment down below. I also have a free template for you if you like. I also know that now there's a ton of apps going around to digitalize your wardrobe. I personally like a good old Google Sheet because I like to be able to really choose the data I have in there. What I find interesting about having a digital wardrobe, be it an Excel sheet like I have or an app, whatever you prefer, is that I find that you often feel like you're wearing your clothes more than you do. This is a really good example. I'm like, I wore it tons. I wore it twice. I wore this top twice. And it's like, yeah, I feel like I've worn it, but actually I've worn it twice. And it's kind of fair. I made it at the end of the summer, so there wasn't much time left to wear it, but it's still the thing. I feel like I've worn it. I'm like, yeah, sure, very good player in my wardrobe, but realistically, it could disappear. Like I wouldn't miss it because I have worn it twice. So just wanted to correct this, that no, I have not worn it a ton at all. And also to kind of highlight, if you don't have a digital wardrobe yet, I highly recommend, because it allows you to see concretely what type of wear you get out of your clothes. And that's actually something I decided I would look up next year when I do my roundup, is to also have in my data, even if I don't say it, but just for myself, to know how much I've worn each piece, because that really informs you of how successful or not successful they are. So wanted to correct myself because that was a big lie. Sorry. Even though I wear camis that have spaghetti straps a lot less than my tank top, which has thicker straps that I wear all the time. It's not bad, it's just could be better. Then there's the wrap top I made for my sister, and this one I'm going to give it 3.5 stars as well. I think I did a good job, I sewed it well, but I kind of still assume that we were still roughly the same size. And actually, so she's had 3 kids and now the youngest is going to be 3 soon, and I think I didn't realize that she has lost all of the baby weight and more, and that now we are no longer the same size, and that I could not actually just assume that because it fits me that it fits her. And so it doesn't fit her super well, so she has to wrap it really. I mean, yeah, the wrap doesn't fall super well, and I don't know if in the end she likes the fabric I chose that much. Normally I see her wearing what I make her, like she tends to wear what I make her a lot, and I see her wear it. And this I haven't seen her wearing it, so maybe it's not her favorite. She doesn't dare to tell me because she's too nice, but I have a feeling like I didn't make the best job of choosing the fabric and choosing the size for her. She chose the wrap, that's something that we talked about, and that was her choice. But yeah, I feel like that was not a full success. And then I made the lemonade top and a scrunchie and a little pouch to put everything in for her daughter so that they could have a mommy and I matching moment. My sister said that the top fit fine, but that the wrist elastics are really tight. I was like, give it to me. I can like quickly update them and like make the wrist less tight. I find it difficult. That's why I tend to not sew for kids. If you follow, I also wanted to make pajamas for my godson, and that's why I don't want to do it, because I find that fitting an elastic on a child that you don't have on hand is basically impossible. You have the elastic measurements in the pattern, but just if your elastic is a bit stiffer, it doesn't work anymore, and then it's not comfortable on a child. And I have made stuff for friends' children, and in the end they never wore them, I think, because the waistline was never comfortable enough for matching what the child needed. So lemonade top, I thought it looked cute, but I don't think it's being worn either. So yeah, 3 stars as well. I mean, I think I did a good job, but it doesn't fit at the wrist. And I can imagine that if you're a child and your wrists are not comfortable, it's like you're not wearing it. I can understand that. Next up is my self-drafted short. I mean, this is copied from my favorite ready-to-wear sports shorts, and I really like them. The only issue is that the fabric is not super squat proof, so I don't feel the most comfortable wearing them outside of the home, let's say. I used to be upset at the top stitching on the front, but I have mended that in my last Vlogmas video, if you watched that. So now I actually really like them. It's really silly. I was really like, no, I don't like those so much. They have the like ugly top stitching at the front and I've messed up and blah blah. But now that I fixed that, they are perfect. It's only the fabric is not great. And I did buy the fabric to make a sports top, so not the fabric's fault. These were a scrap project anyway. These shorts really give me the confidence that I can make my own sportswear and that it's going to be glorious and that I'm going to be much more happy than buying sportswear out of ready to wear, because as I said in my Vlogmas, I tried to buy myself shorts and they were so badly made, and I was like, I can't pay 40 euros for something so bad when I can use scraps and make myself nice shorts. So yeah, I have high hopes for my future legging and shorts making. It's just hard to find very good quality lycra in Belgium, like sportswear that's really good quality generally tends to be a bit more like all-round lycra, but I do like sportswear that's meant specifically for leggings and shorts to make those. I think they would have had a lower mark originally, but now that the front is fixed, they're definitely a 4 stars out of 5. Next up, we have my Persephone pants, which I have hacked with an elastic back so that they are really comfy. Basically what I did, and something I like to do in general, normally I remove the darts and I add an elasticated waist back, but here, because my waist size is one size smaller than my hip size, I just followed the bigger size, but then I add elastic to make up for the size difference. So that gives you just a few inches of comfort, which I really love. New Noémie is having elasticated back for everything. I am no longer living in stuff that doesn't have elastic. One thing I'm not happy about is how the front is collapsing here. As you can see, it really doesn't sit flat anymore, especially when I wear it, obviously. I do interface my waistband, I'm not crazy, but what I'm going to try in the future, someone suggested that in the comments and I thought that was genius, is put gross grain in the part that doesn't have the elastic, so from here to here have gross grain, and then obviously at this part of the front as well, to try to give the waistband a little bit more sturdiness. If you've watched my fabric store video of Brussels, reused fabric has really good, like super cheap gross grain. I don't really care about the color because it's going to be inside the waistband anyway, because if I have to buy it new, it's like 3.50 a meter, and at reused fabric it's €1 a meter, so I'm like, go ahead, I want all the gross grain, and I have bought quite a few different sizes, and I'm planning for all my future pants and skirts to have this reinforcement in the waistline, because that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of ruining the look. I find that the waistband collapses. Gross grain, it's really weird because that comes from French gros grain, like written the same, and so when I read it in English, I always read gros grain like in French because it's a French word, but then I heard someone saying it in English and I was like, oh my god, they say gross grain. So funny. It's like it processes in my head as gross, like it's a gross grain, whatever. And actually in between I have discovered that it's gros grain because I have heard another YouTuber say gros grain and I was like, wait, from Carly B said gross grain, this person here says gros grain, what is it? Who do I trust? And so I looked up in the dictionary and the dictionary said gros grain. So gros like in French, grain like not in French. And now we have the proper way of saying it. So sorry I said gross grain. That's what I had heard. Now I realize it's gros grain. My main complaint with those pants are the pockets. I've already talked about this, but they kind of bother me. Top stitching them was hell on earth and is not as neat as I would have liked it to be. I will give them a 3.5 stars. I really like the shape of them and I feel really pretty when I wear them, but there's definitely elements of the final product that I'm not a big fan of, and also in the making of them there were a lot of grumpy moments. Again, if you want to see that in a vlog, there's a lot of me being grumpy. Next up, the gathered skirt I have made. It is fully French seam. I have made a tutorial about this I'm very proud of, but this is going to be taken apart. I explain in my video that it's just not something I enjoy wearing. I don't feel good in it, sadly. No, this is not going to stay a skirt. I'm never going to wear this for reasons. I mean, it's basically my own taste and slash fabric choice. I think it's also maybe because I'm a bit larger in the hips. I don't feel very flattered in this type of skirt. I was basically influenced because Sydney Graham looks so good in her gathered skirt, but I wasn't convinced by this one and it's going to get chopped up into something else. So 1 star, thank you for the process, but no for the results. Then I made a crochet wrap for a friend and that's going to be a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It was really fun to be like, okay, I have a birthday tomorrow. What do I want to make for her? She does crochet. She probably needs a nice wrap for all of her crochet hooks. And I really have the formula now with the paintbrush wrap, and I can just adapt it to whatever size and needs I have. And yeah, I made a nice wrap. It just felt nice offering something homemade to my friend for her birthday. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars, a good one. Then I made the blue twisted front for the friend I had made the first layout out for, and this one was a birthday surprise, and it was really fun to work on a surprise for her. I was really happy with the color of lycra I found. I thought it would suit her really well. I originally was like 5 out of 5, so beautiful, so happy with it. It was also convenient because I had all of her measurements, so even though I didn't have her on hand, I thought it would be really nice. And if we had stopped at the photo I made of the leotard on the floor, it would be a 5 out of 5 stars. But when I saw it on her, and I never seen it on her in real life, but I've seen the photo she sent me, and actually it falls really weirdly. There's clearly a weird waving around on the bust. The seams that are here kind of like holding the twist together are super visible when it's being worn, and in the end, like, yeah, it looked really nice lying down, but on her I was like, oh, there's a few parts, and that's around the chest, I find it very visible, that make it look not so nice. And I was like, oh, it's a bit sad because I thought I had made it really nicely, and seeing it on her, I saw some bits that I wasn't so happy with. I thought that it looked less professionally made than the red one. She still said that she got lots of compliments at Daunt, but I seeing the photos, knowing I haven't seen it in real life, so it's hard to judge, but from the photos, I'm less happy with it, so it's going to be 3.5 stars. Then we have the pink fur coat I made for Legally Blonde. That was a very fun make. I made it super fast. I made it without a pattern. I felt very powerful being able to make this. It was a pain working with faux fur. I also finished it by hand, which made me feel very fancy and really happy to see that what I'm learning at school translates into some concrete skills. Does it deserve a 5 star? It was such an iconic outfit from the show. Like, it was something that I just talked about with the main actress, and we decided on me doing it, and it became like the outfit she was wearing in the program, the outfit that represented her most on the show. And I don't know, I feel like I have made an iconic piece of the play, but at the same time, I think what bothers me is that, okay, I know why I don't want to give it 5 star, and maybe that's unfair on the poor little jacket. Because she had very little time to put it on, it sometimes felt like it wasn't folding properly, because you really had to put it and making sure that the collar would fold nicely. And sometimes she was on stage and the collar would flap and everything, and I was like, the outfit should work no matter if she has no time to put it on. And I think that's what bothers me, that sometimes didn't look as polished as I would have liked. I think it's going to have to be a 4.5 stars, even though I'm super happy with it in a sense, and yeah, really happy with that product. I really liked the vlog that I made out of making that as well, and it felt really cool to be just a few months into school and to have one of my first pieces on stage. So yeah, 4.5 stars with a lot of love, but I always feel like I can always see like the small thing I could have made better. Then I made Milo's Cars t-shirt, which I also made a nice video of. I mean, he wore it once. It feels a bit like a waste of fabric. I'm happy I made the video, but I have put it in my scrap bin to make sure that I use the fabric into something, because otherwise it feels like a waste, and that makes me feel a bit guilty. I think that's a 2 stars out of 5. The dog clearly doesn't enjoy wearing it. I really wanted to make it because I wanted to make the tutorial, but I think it was not super practical for our family, because a corgi has so much fur, he doesn't need extra lining, if you see what I mean. Then I made his fur coat, and I think by that point I was clearly over making things in that pink fur fabric. I still have a tiny bit that I want to make something with. I can't wait to be finished with it and not having shed all over my house. I just can't make myself throw it away because it's pure polyester, and I'm like, I don't want to just throw away polyester in the bin. I want to try to use as much as possible, but what a pain. Can't wait to be done with it. Yeah, the fur coat is not so nicely finished. You really need to not come and look too closely. I think the dog was also totally over wearing it by the end. Going to give it 3 stars. stars. And the last one for this year, that's also a Legally Blonde costumes, officially my last make of the year, but between us, you know that there's going to be a couple more makes in 2024 still. It's the wrap dress from Legally Blonde. I really want to say, just thinking of that dress, the level of happiness I feel and of pride of having made it. It's the very first dress Elle is wearing when she arrives on stage. It was worn by the main actress, but it fit the understudy as well, and the understudy was doing the Saturday afternoon show, and they both wore it and it worked on both. Obviously it's like not thanks to me that they are not so different in size, but still, like, because it was jersey, it did manage to fit both. It was the first thing that people saw her in the show. It worked. It was made in a sweatshirt fabric, which I thought was totally crazy, but it felt like the perfect lacy pink option. It was a nice experience going with her to the fabric store to choose it. I also made it quite fast, which felt good. I matched the pattern from an existing wrap dress and it was really hard to copy. I don't know, I feel like I can't even judge the final product. I just feel so much pride for having been able to make it, copy it. I just feel very happy I was able to do it, how I executed it. Like, I think my sewing has improved so much this year, and when I see being able to do this piece so fast, that's what I feel, you know. I'm like, wow, I can whip up a dress that opens a show, and oh, it feels good. It really, really feels good. I don't know what to say. I'm really happy with it. I don't think I can give it a 5 still. I think it's still a 4.5, but I'm really, really happy with this last make. And I don't know, it felt really powerful, and being a student in costume and having 2 so good costumes on stage feels very good. My God, it feels like I've been filming all day. We have finished with the list. I now want to share a couple of stats because I do love a good Excel and seeing all of the data, so I couldn't resist. I have decided I will make my plans for 2025 in a different videos because this was long to film, and I think I'm happy to take a break and chat about my plans in a future video. But so, the data. I have sewn 30 things for me, 5 for Fran, 3 we know were originally for me, so only 2 were really made for her at the time, but she ended up with 5 things. Milo got 4 things, friends, and when I say friends, it's like friends, mom, sister, my niece, everyone is in one bag. That's 13 things and 2 costumes. So it looks like I have made just a little bit over 50% for me. That feels like a very good ratio. I'm really happy with that because I don't want to be sewing only for my wardrobe, and seeing it in a graph. I would even prefer it being 50-50, but like this, I could feel quite good about this graph, and it's kind of interesting because during the year, I just do whatever I do and I don't, you know, plan or try to not sew for me, but seeing it like this, like, it feels good. It feels like what I was hoping for. I have used 20 new patterns, 14 patterns repeat, and 20 no patterns. And when I say no patterns, it's stuff I've copied from Ready to Wear or drafted myself, like my paintbrush wrap, etc. All of those ones that are not strictly a sewing pattern, and that feels good as well. This is basically like roughly a third. I'm happy to see I have a lot of repeats because I'm happy to see I use the same pattern several times. It feels like a better cost per wear to be reusing the patterns. Now I know that it's basically always the same ones I reuse. I basically reuse the Jackson tee, the tank top. It's like always the same ones that come back, so it feels like I buy a pattern and I make it once, and if it doesn't become one of those tried and true, it just stays at one wear. Ultimately, I would like to see that I reuse my patterns more and more, and that it makes their cost a little bit more worth it. I'm still happy with the split. I'm also impressed by how many things I've made without a pattern, so it's quite good. But yeah, I think I wouldn't want my new pattern ratio to go much higher than that because I feel like I need to make the most of what I have, hack the patterns, really use them, like use as much of them as possible. Like, that's really something I aim for. So I'm happy with this graph. Again, it's really nice to be like, I didn't know what goals I had, but seeing this graph, I'm like, yeah, that's really good. I'm really happy, but I wouldn't want the graph to go too much more on new patterns. And then we have how many was made from dedicated fabric and how much was made from leftovers. And I'm really happy with that. I think if we looked specifically at stuff I made for myself, the amount that's made from leftover would be even higher. But because I've made lots of swimsuits and the leotards and everything, that's always something I buy specific fabric for. Obviously, I'm not going to make something for someone out of scraps. So I tend to make stuff out of scraps more for me. Lies right there. I have made paintbrush wraps for friends made out of scraps and didn't think that it was bad in any way. I don't know why I said that. I think I had it so strongly in my head that if I make a leotard or a swimsuit for someone and it's kind of like something that they ask very specifically, they ask for specific fabric, and so I buy fabric to make what they ask. But even the top for my niece I made out of scraps from the t-shirt I made for her mom. So really I was like, not only do I make accessories and small things for people out of scraps, but I also make small clothes out of scrap. My nieces and nephews have got all sorts of things made from scraps. So definitely a big lie when I said I wouldn't make something out of scraps for friends. I clearly had a very specific scenario in my head and forgot that it's something I've already done, I've already made. Even for someone's birthday, like I came to a birthday with a paintbrush wrap being like, here you are, scrappy present. So definitely a lie, sorry. I'm really happy. I mean, I think if it could be even more leftover fabrics to make sure I use up all of my scraps would be even better, but obviously you also need to sometimes buy fabric to create scraps. So I think that's fine. This one, I don't know if it matches what I would dream in my head. I think it also depends year to year because again, you can't have scraps if you don't buy fabric, but I do like to see that I make good use of my scraps and that I have made 20 things from leftovers and that it's not only buying fabric for every new project. So I'm quite happy with that. It also shows that I'm quite good at Tetrising the pieces on my pattern pieces to be able to save as much as possible. Like I really don't do the thing where you fold your fabric into, lay out all of your pieces and then whatever if you have space in between. Like I really do one piece at the time almost and cut them one at the time to save as much fabric as possible, and then it leaves me plenty of fabric to do things. It feels a lot less wasteful, feel better for me. It takes longer, but I kind of see it as a you enjoy for longer. It's not cost per wear, it's cost per hour of fun. The cost per hour of fun is better if I take my time, and then I have scraps to make things, and even though scraps feels like a to-do and end up kind of like as a job in my head, I'm still happy to know that I've done my best to create as little waste as possible. I'm going to wrap up here. I have definitely talked at you enough. I would love to hear in the comment what is your favorite make of the year, and if you want to join us on the Discord, which is a really lovely place full of super positive people. If you want to show on the catwalk your favorite makes of the year, like please come, let me see your makes. I can't wait to see them and give a little clap for them. That's my last video of 2024. Oh my god, it's crazy. But thank you so much for the time we spent together this year. I can't wait to spend 2025 with you guys. Have so many ideas. If you saw in my vlogmas, my calendar is exploding with stuff I want to share with you guys. So I have so much coming up. Okay, now it's the thing where I've been talking for so long I don't know how to end the video. Let's stop. 1, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Thank you so much for everyone who subscribed during this year. Means so much. 2, like the video if you liked it and if you like seeing everything I've made this year. 3, join our Discord if you feel like it. It's free and it's a really lovely group of people. 4, don't forget that you can make anything. And I'll see you next year for more sewing and more creativity. Bye! Are you still there? Oh, well, am I adding a secret part of the video because I'm not allowed a Friday video anymore and so I need to squeeze everything into the one video I have? Totally, that's why I'm adding a second part of the video. I want to quickly share, I want to quickly share 2 things with you. I want to share what I got for Christmas, sewing related, and I just want to say, after last week's video, after all your recommendation, my to watch list is now 228 videos long. You guys didn't recommend 228 people. Well, to be honest, I already had 4 videos from my normal things on my to watch list. You guys didn't recommend 224 YouTubers, but because every time I'm recommended someone, I'm like, okay, I see the video that's recommended on their main page, and that's kind of like one of their more popular video, and then I go and choose one of the more recent ones, and then I scroll a bit and I see if there's like 2 or 3 that are inspiring and that I think would be subject that I would like. And so yeah, so because I chose a few videos from all the recommendations you gave me, it means that I now have a very long to watch list to last me the Christmas season. So I will watch all this and see if I find some new favorite YouTubers. Then I quickly want to show you what I got for Christmas sewing related. And Milo is sniffing you guys. I got 2 things from a friend from school. I gave her myself. I gave her a sticker of Milo from my merch. I gave her some of my merch. I also gave her a sheep, which was made out of felt. And it really reminded me because we had textile technology this year and our teacher was really big on wool. And so it was really nice to have this little Christmas tree ornament made out of felt, pure wool. And I don't know, when she saw it, she was also like, oh my God, it's wool, it's from that class, from textile technology. So it was a little reminder of what we went through this first semester. And I also got her one of the magnetic pincushion that you slap on your wrist. I think they're the best because I do like having it on your wrist. I think it's practical when you're working, but the ones when you need to pin things, it's too much work. Like I like to be able to just throw the pin on your pin cushion and it's very comfortable. And she always puts her pins in her mouth. So I thought that would help with that bad habit. So she got me, they're super cute. They're pattern weights and they're cute little buttons. And first I was like, those buttons are very heavy to go on any coat I would be making, but no, they're definitely pattern weights. So I have 4 pattern weights. And it's really great because if you ever saw in my vlog, I always use either my phone or my scissors or my pincushion. Oh my God, Milo's like pushing through all of my presents. Milo, you're such a nuisance. Stop eating my presents, they're mine. He's already destroyed his present, can tell you that. Okay, so it's really cool because I've never actually used proper pattern weights. I've always used everything that was on hand, so it feels very fancy. And she got me, it's something we talked about when she came to do the homework with me that evening. It's a friction pen, so it's one that leaves with the heat. She ironed the pen out of my project in front of my eyes at my place, and I was literally like, wow! Like it was magical because I have a water soluble pen and the pen leaves kind of gradually, and here she put the iron on and it was all gone, and I was really like, oh my God, it's magic. And I have to say it's quite more precise than my water soluble pen. Oh my God, Milo left hair everywhere. So I'm very excited for that. I used to not want them because I had heard that if you go back in the cold, it could like show up and blah, blah. But now I'm like, there's so many places in your garment that even if it came back, it wouldn't matter. Or like I literally do things with like a proper like ballpoint pen. So this would be so much better. So very nice. And she got me recharges for them as well. So a super sweet present. She knew I was kind of like eyeing that and kind of jealous of hers last time we saw each other. Then I have a bundle from Kylie and the Machine. So when my wife got me the advent calendar, there was a special on and it came with all sorts of goodies. So I had a sweary pack of labels. After consideration, I think I'm such a non-sweary person. I think they don't really match my vibe. But when I had to choose between sweary and non-sweary, I was like, well, I have a whole advent calendar of non-sweary labels coming. So maybe I want the sweary ones for the like special thing. I don't know how much it matches me, but it's fun to do something different. But yeah, I'm not a very sweary person, but I do like this one. I'm not gonna show them all because there's quite a few. I do like this one because I studied linguistics. And if you know in linguistics, you use this technique to determine where the different syllables in a word are. So this reminds me of my good linguistics days. So I like this one. Those are all about the fact that you swear while you sew, and I don't swear what I sew. So this, I mean, I say this maybe as well a little bit, but not, you know, not profusely. Okay, I quite like this one with the sparkles. So cute. Okay, that I like. I also got a sticker to put on my machine, but to be honest, I don't think I would want to put a sticker on my machine. Too precious. I got this patch. The scissors are actually sparkly, which feels very fancy. And also label glue stick, which apparently is very useful when you're putting your label. You can first glue them on and then you sew them very neatly, and then the glue leaves when you wash your clothes. But so it's kind of a way to almost baste them on before you sew them, and yeah, very nice. Very excited to try that. These are the sweary socks, and they're like this. So the sweary socks. Last thing I got from my wife, and very excited to get into that. And it's Fabric, The Hidden History of the Material World by Victoria Finlay. And yeah, very excited to get reading this. It's quite a chunky one. How many pages is this? It's written small as well. It's written quite small and it's 450 pages. This is how much the notes are. You know it's a serious book when the notes take such a good chunk of the book. I actually also got some Christmas money from my godfather, and with that I bought a rotary cutter, a mat, and a Japanese ruler that are coming my way very soon. I wish you a very happy new year full of creativity, and I'll see you in 2025. Bye!